Hello and welcome everyone to episode 85 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm, of course, Brandon Bovia, letterer of manga like Dragon Ball Super, Kaiju number 8, and many more. And it feels kind of weird to be back at the manga.
We've had a longer break this time around. I mean, last time we took this long of a break from the manga is when we started catching up with the movies and we had to do the first 3 in a row. But yeah, that was, varying quality. We went from something pretty good to, well, honestly, something still good. And we got some amazing stuff coming up. But it does feel weird to go back to the chapter format.
Yeah, just a bit. It's like, oh, right, this is that between that and the manga's been taking a lot of breaks recently, so the One Piece manga hasn't been in my brain that much lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's sort of been talking about the anime for reasons.
yeah, the anime and of course the live action. It feels like the manga's. I don't want to frame it like it's taking a back burner, but just like it's we've been getting chapters less often.
Yeah,
so
it's steadily going while other things have gotten the chance to be a highlight. And hey, you know what?
Yeah,
that's fine.
Exactly.
And you know what? We're still far behind. I took a look and it's like, oh God, they're almost at 1100.
We're almost at 1100.
And him hitting 1,000 is when I was like, I wonder if I should do this and actually catch up. That's when I got the inspiration. Like, man, I should read One Piece again. And that's what.
Well, I mean,
it's the whole genesis of this podcast.
This podcast is like just under 2 years old, and so in that time frame, we've only gotten another 100 chapters or so. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty solid, honestly. Oh boy, but we got Enies Lobby to take care of, and things are certainly ramping up. But let's go ahead and see what we're in for this time around with chapter 381, Fired. And things are ramping up for the Golden Week's big plan.
I was not expecting it to ramp up this way. I had just kind of a dark laugh at this.
Right. Like Hina's going for it.
She doesn't play.
No, it's like, all right, Golden Week 5-3, turn yourselves in or we're chopping off her head. Or no, she'll hang. She'll hang.
Will hang.
It's like, jeez.
Public hanging. Holy crap.
Hina goes hard.
Yeah, seriously. So, and we don't even know where Mr. 3 is.
No, we don't. So, this is quickly becoming one of the top chapter stories for me.
It's great, honestly. It's super good.
Yeah. So we'll see how that evolves as we go on. But last time, the Rocket Man arrived and with Sanji and Zoro already stepping out and clearing out some guys, and we got some banter as the Marines are like, it's that bounty hunter stooge. It's like, I called you. And Sanji's like, yeah, I called you a stooge. He's like, they don't even recognize you. You're Pirate A.
Yeah. It's like you didn't even have a wanted poster.
Oh, it's good. And then they notice like, oh, they got more of them coming out of the train. It's like, blow it up. And they blow up the Rocket Man, which sends Sniper King's mask flying. It's like, oh no, well, it's all about that. And I gotta say, the biggest shock about this entire set of chapters, like I did not see this coming, and I don't even know how to put it. Usopp was Sniper King. We got that reveal.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Right?
I don't know. This whole story arc is, it's been about ulterior motives and, dual identities and who can you really trust. And I'm feeling really shocked and just really, I'm going to need time to process.
Right.
Okay?
I mean, Usopp is not one to lie to his friends at all. So
he would never.
No, he would never. So the fact that it turned out that he was Sniper King all the whole time and keeps fooling poor Chopper, I feel betrayed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got that identity revealed. That's definitely huge, but I suppose we should move on because I love how they play this, where
I love this gag. Yeah.
Kokoro comes out and she's like, hey, there's an old lady present and a child and a little animal. We're fragile. They made us operate the train. It's like, that's brilliant how to keep them out of trouble. I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. I don't really remember now that they're here, what they do kind of for the rest of the arc.
I think they just kind of hang out based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah. So it is like, I mean, they are of course completely complicit, but and I'm glad that they are at least like it's hard to feel bad that they're shifting the blame on the Straw Hats when they're already like, hey, you just drove a train straight into a government facility. So like there's not really much more damage they could do at this point.
Not really. And Nami immediately stepping up, using her new climate baton, using the cool ball and heat ball, and showing it off. He shows her lightning power, and used the new Thunderbolt tempo that certainly got a power increase where she electrifies everyone, almost herself.
Yeah, she's just diving out of the way, straight into bonking Usopp.
She's like, it's not selective, and it's like, they don't blame me. It must be something wrong with the way you used it. I'm like, holy crap! Nami got a power increase with this.
The aftermath of it too was just everybody knocked out.
Yeah, even Zoro and Sanji are fried.
She has a higher kill count than Zoro and Sanji at this point. Yeah, who were also got caught in the crossfire. Like, just an entire crowd just downed.
Yeah, and I love how she's like, hey, Sniper King, you're the one that needs to apologize.
Yep.
It's your fault for not making it too powerful, I guess.
Doesn't even acknowledge that it's her fault.
And I love this, like, from the Frankie family. Is like, I thought the girl was just backup, but no, she's a full-fledged warrior, so.
Yeah.
Dang. I was like, I like that little acknowledgement. It's like, Nami's not just backup here.
I feel like that's kind of planting the seeds, I feel like, for how this arc will go.
Mm-hmm. And then they see an explosion in the distance. It's like, well, that's got to be Luffy. Well, let's go after him.
Yeah, I kind of find it interesting. Like, this is kind of our we're kind of moving into the next section of the story where it's like, okay, now we kind of got a general idea where Luffy is. So like the rest of the crew still has to play catch up.
Pretty much, because he's still rampaging and just, God, again, the paneling of just how he's taking out all these guys, the movement, the flows, the spears, just everything. And he's like, man, they just keep coming. I got to move forward. And he's like, notices them. It's like, oh, hey, they came. That'll make it easier. And he's able to just keep getting away.
Yeah, basically, he's too nimble. They can't catch him.
Yep. And it seems like it's time for Zoro and Sanji to fight. Even Chopper's ready to go, but Nami and Sniper King no, it's Sniper King in my heart. That's where Sniper Island is, and it's still Sniper King in my heart. Yes. And they're getting ready to take him on. But that's when Polly shows up. Is like, no, get on this.
Yeah.
It's like, save your strength.
Come with me if you want to live.
Right. It's time to ride. I think it's Gamora. I can't remember. It's Sodom.
I think it's Sodom. Yeah, I think Gamora's the striped one.
Yeah. Hop on Sodom. It's not time to rampage. We need to go. So grab onto the ropes and let's go. So the Marines start to have to run out of the way. Frankie family gets on Gamora, and Kokoro just sort of cheers them on as they rampage through.
What a panel of just like the giants, like riding off of the giant seahorses in the middle of the crowd, while Kokoro sees them off, just like holding a bottle of liquor in her hand. Just, don't die.
All the while, the Marines riding on these attack dogs, trying to catch up with them. It's like, what the heck is going on?
One Piece is such a special manga.
Yeah, you never know what you're in for. But obviously, we can't let these guys catch up. So Polly and the rest of Galila are like, hey, if you meet them, tell them they're fired.
Yeah.
And then they jump off to deal with the Marines that are chasing after them. And it's like, let's get Galila to show off.
It's such a good, just kind of like, we'll take care of this, you guys go on kind of moment. You know, I mean, they've already like shown off what they can do, but it's cool kind of being like, all right, you know, they're basically playing the distraction.
Yeah, I mean, it's still impressive because this is, you know, the group of 1,000 soldiers that Luffy cut through. And as we heard later, it's I think at some point we hear that he's personally taking out 300, but that's still 700 guys left.
Yeah.
And I love how the Marines are freaking out. I was like, they can't take out these guys. It's like, oh no, they demolished the guard force. And then like, oh, they're going to attack it back. It's like, oh no, they were demolished again. Who are these guys?
I'm actually really surprised how much the Galila guys are just like owning the Navy folks here, the government guys. Mm-hmm. Like I knew they were strong, but like showing just like the gap in strength.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a lot bigger than I was expecting, which is it's cool. It's satisfying.
Yeah, it definitely gets the feeling that it's strength in numbers rather than real strength. Although they're strong guys to be sure, but it's more about the numbers game in this one. And
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oof, It's fun to see, but that's the chapter. Like I was actually, when I was reading it the first time, I was like, oh, it's already over.
Yeah.
So that's certainly interesting. A little fun SBS though before we move on, where it's like somebody's asking about the names of Robin's powers, and he's like, oh, the numbers are Spanish, fleur is of course flower in French, some like clutcher from English. It's all mixed up, but if it sounds good, it works for me. There's no convention.
More or less, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And then somebody asking, it's like, man, I would really like to know about Robin's past. It's like, stay to until the next volume, because I'll do my best.
Stay tuned. I feel like there's things that readers will ask in the SBS segments that are just like, hey, what's the deal with this thing? And then Oda is just kind of like, oh, we'll come to that like way later. But it's funny how quickly you're just like, yeah, you can kind of assume we're probably in store pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
This whole arc is about Robin.
Yeah. Oda is like, it's coming. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. Let him cook.
All right, let's go ahead and get to chapter 382, Demon Lair, where, hey, here's Mr. 3, and I could never tell it was him. I mean, he has...
No? Yeah?
I love that hoodie so much.
The hoodie is so good.
The hoodie being, like, covering the 3 as well.
And is it poking through?
It might be, I'm not sure. It's just above.
I think his top knot is... like poking through the hoodie,
something like that. Either way, it's amazing. He even has his bow with like all the obvious 3s. How did they not figure that out?
No, yeah. And I mean, assuming that Kyuka Island was where they were all at, that like all this happened and we had no idea that Mr. 3 was also here. It is just like, all right, nope,
I'm out of here.
Yeah,
he doesn't care that Golden Week is getting hanged
or Valentine.
Oh yeah, that Golden Week. It's Valentine. Gosh, why can I never remember Valentine's name?
I would hope that they don't hang the little girl.
I don't know. He might at this rate. It's hard to say.
She doesn't play games.
Nope. But time to continue the rampage as Sodom and Gomorrah just take out all these Marines. All the while, the Frankie family are firing their guns and just taking out as many as they can. Bombs are being shot at the pirates as they're like, of course, as they're going past, and Zora's just knocking them back like nothing.
Yeah.
It's a full-blown war.
Yeah. God, honestly, it feels way larger scale now that I'm thinking about it than anything we've seen up to this point, which I feel like I say a lot, but even compared to like the conflicts in Alabasta and Skypiea, just like the amount of characters on screen, the people involved, and there being like thousands of government agents here, like it's just pretty wild.
I think what the big difference here is that it's a lot of nameless soldiers fighting in Alabasta. We know a lot of the characters or recognize a lot of them for this, so it just feels that much more in the fray.
Yeah, exactly.
It's time to take a little break from that as we get reminded on why we hate Spandam.
Well, I mean, and he just lays it all right there for us, really.
Oh God, it's awful. It's just he's beating up on Frankie. He's like acting all superior. He's like, just arresting you for past crimes was so easy compared to Iceberg, because we find out why Iceberg did the things he did. He set up the corporation by uniting the shipyards, setting up a corporation, and getting close to the government to make them to the point where they're a major shipbuilder for the government, and becoming the mayor. He became popular, supported, and indispensable. So they had to be very careful on how to handle him, which is why I guess they had to go settle for CP9 in order to get the blueprints.
Yeah. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
And that explains to Frankie like why he did that all those years. And it's just like, oh man. And then all of a sudden Aokiji told Spandam's like, Nico Rama's on the way on a pirate ship for Water 7. And that's when he's like, I planned the whole thing out and got my approval for the Buster Call. So it all worked out. I'm a genius. I got the 2 people I need to activate the ancient weapon right here. And the power to rule whichever country I wish is in my hands. It's like, oh, this guy's megalomaniacal already.
Yeah, any sort of illusions that anybody might have had that like anything that he's doing is for justice. It's all just self-serving nonsense at the end of the day, which I mean, you'd kind of expect, but again, he just kind of lays it all right there. Just like, yeah, he just wants power.
What you get just sick of them. But I also love that a simple question from Robin is enough to like break the facade, because that face that he gives is like, why did Aokiji give you authority for a Buster Call?
Yeah.
And right here I'm like, oh, this guy needs to go. I'm like, oh, I hate him because he just punches Robin for asking that question.
Yeah.
And just starts berating her, that Ohara and all that stuff. It's like, if I had not recognized the value of your existence, it would have come to nothing. You should be thankful to me, and just be prepared for the torment that makes you wish for death.
Oda's really good at these kinds of characters. You just
you hate him. You hate him so much.
Hateable. So easily hateable.
And he's still of the opinion that the Straw Hats have been captured. It's like, hey, the fools came to rescue you, and by now they're already captured. And, the Straw Hat and his crew are amount to nothing more than rubbish before the 10,000 strong force of Enies Lobby. So I'm going to take a ship to the prison anyway and make them presents to the prison staff at Impel Down. And Robin's immediately like, I cooperated with you so they would go away safely. And that's when Spanner's like, no, we agreed to let them sail safely from Water 7, but now they've come here.
I feel like if we didn't have enough of a reason already, it's like now the terms of the agreement are, they're just completely...
got that wiggle room.
Yeah, exactly. So
Frankie's like, yeah, this guy is a piece of trash, and he just starts kicking the both. Spandam Cart starts kicking the both of them.
I hope Frankie bites him in the face again.
I know. I would love that. And he just says, our method of tricking pirates to capture them is not something the Navy hides. So it's like, I feel like that's a bit foreshadowing for what we get later in these sets of chapters.
Yeah, and I feel like the idea, or he says we don't have to honor a promise to criminals. Like that very much feels like that's just the way that the Marines do things.
Oh, absolutely is. And oh god, you see the frustration on her face. It's like, all this stuff I did
feels like it's all coming crashing down.
Yep, I hate that line. Is all are powerless in the face of great justice, because it's just so hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny, coming off of the live action show where I feel like they tried their best to add some nuance early on to sort of the dichotomy between the pirates and the Marines. It's like, I'm going to be a good pirate, I'm going to be a good Marine, and blah, blah, blah. And then, here's just like, no, we will commit countless atrocities in the name of justice.
Yeah. Which is why it makes it satisfying to go back to Luffy as he's just continuing to rampage through. And it's here that we start seeing a little bit of intelligence from Bluno, because he's kind of been stoic up to this point, really not getting a lot out of him. But he's asking about, have Luffy and the gang appeared? And I always forget his name, Zippermouth guy, just saying, the director was so upset about the communication, but a little while ago there were only 5 casualties. And that's when he notices that the receiver is off the hook. So
I feel like he good on Bluno, at least for kind of like, that doesn't sound right.
right. It's time to start moving things. Cuddy Flame is going to Impel Down, and Nico Robbins is going to Navy headquarters. So CP9, you can return to your rooms to catch your breath, because after this, our status will grow incredibly, and we'll raise a glass of celebration. And Lucci's like, yeah, I don't feel like a toast, because I'm not interested in status or power. Basically, we're just assassins. We don't agree with your ideals. We don't even have to agree with your ideals, but we're under orders from the government, and we're just here for blood. We're here to murder when it's justified. It's
shot, and even that even sends a shiver down Spandam's spine. It was just like,
we just want to be allowed
they're reliable,
to kill.
But yeah. That's the thing, and it feels like that to me feels like they're ready for a fight is what's happening here.
Mm-hmm. They're itching for it. They're definitely itching for it. Luffy has successfully gotten away and made it to within sight of the final building, but there's no road. There's no way to get across. So what do? When all of a sudden an air door opens up, and Luffy's like, "Oh, you're the cow who was with the pigeon guy." So there's Bluno using his door fruit.
He sort of remembers.
Sort of. And he's like, I thought there must be more than 5 casualties. God, Bluno looks intimidating here. Just that stoic stance that he's always had. And he's like, no one's ever made it this as far as the entrance to the government. So how long do you plan on fighting? And Luffy just says, until I die. It's like, yes.
Oh, here we go.
Our first CP9 fight. Yes.
Let's go.
Yes. All about this. We'll just roll right into it with chapter 383, Luffy versus Bluno. We got another 2-page spread, another flying one here. It's pretty neat. I like it.
Yeah, not much to really say, but it's good.
We got Usopp and Robin part of the proceedings again, which is always nice. So not much to say there, but he's just Luffy's just like, all right, Robin's in the building behind him. I just got to get by you, so out of the way.
Yep.
And that's when Bluno starts explaining some things like, yeah, you don't really realize what you're actually doing by trying to rescue her. This is a major crime on a global scale. We kind of cut away from that, but it's like, I guess that makes sense. But we'll return.
It does. I feel like it's important to point out, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah. In the meantime, Chopper being able to talk to animals continues to help as we find out from Sodom that the Frankie family found him with his brother. Both were nearly dead and in the stomach of a giant Neptunian.
I completely forgot they had a backstory.
I know, right?
I completely forgot.
I had no idea they got a backstory, but it's so wholesome. They were found in the belly of a giant Neptunian. But since Frankie wasn't hungry, he didn't eat them. And ever since, they've been loyal.
I guess I really do like that fact that, like, that really, it kind of makes the Frankie family feel like even more of a family, where even their, God, I keep forgetting what they're called. I keep calling them seahorses.
They're bulls or something. I forget what exactly, but something bulls.
Yagura bulls or something like that?
Yeah. I think I might refer to the size, but yeah, these guys.
Yeah, or it's like, they're as much of a part of the family as, any other character. And so I was surprised, but pleasantly surprised to be like, oh, okay, like they're actually, like they're, getting fleshed out a decent amount.
Yeah, it's a tight-knit group, and that's important for what we're going through here, I think.
Yeah, and Chopper being the translator is just cute.
Yeah, always. That's when Sana points out, where'd the guy in the mask go? He didn't get on. Is that okay? And everybody realizes, like, oh no, Sniper King's not here. He was never here.
Yeah, I just forgot about him.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But we go back to Galileo versus the courthouse guard force. That's a bit of a mouthful. And they are still holding him off just fine. Like, it is impressive as hell.
I like, because you're kind of seeing Paulie reflect here on it's like he's thinking about just like Luffy and the Straw Hats is like their resolve, and to me it's a good just kind of like reminder of like what Paulie's fighting for and why he's fighting. And you sort of see flashing back to that scene where they were tied down, and Luffy, or he's like asking Luffy, can you beat them? Yes. And it's like, you're seeing Paulie's kind of like his absolute trust in them.
He has that faith that they can do it. And, he just wants revenge for Iceberg. He's not rescuing
exactly.
But it's just revenge. He's like, how dare they break our trust? And it's good stuff. I like these just little character moments because it helps it divert from just beat him up, but get a little bit of emotion in there.
Yeah, it's more than just like pure action.
Yes. But we get back to Luffy and Bluno, where Luffy's like, okay, what do you mean? And Bluno breaks it down. The world government is backed by the power of over 170 signatory nations from throughout the world's oceans. To attack this island, which belongs to that organization, is to raise a standard of revolt against every one of those countries. The government will expose each one of you to public humiliation and inflict horrible deaths upon you. And it's just like, basically, with only a few dozen at most, you can't fight us. You're just declaring war and going to die.
It's basically, you're picking a fight with the entire planet's system of government.
Pretty much. And he's like, don't even bother. And Luffy's just sort of getting ready for the fight. He's like, hey, fighting's useless. R6 powers technique at the Galileo. You know how superior our combat strength. And Luffy's just like, nah, I don't feel like giving up. Because I think earlier we had a little scene. Yeah. it was during Polly, and it's set up for this, where they said people can become weak when they hesitate, but when they know they can help, there's no limit to their strength. And that is pure setup for this, where Luffy surprises Bluno and gets through the iron body. He's like, what the hell? You're not nearly this strong before.
I do remember a lot about this fight. I forgot that this is how it opens, and now seeing, like, we've kind of seen the buildup with the six powers of, like, oh, you know, we can't touch them to, I think it was like Sanji got Bluno to budge a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He almost broke through it, but Luffy does.
Yeah, he just a good straight gum rifle to the gut, and it gets him to push back.
And even more impressive.
Yeah, I love this one.
Oh, this is so cool. He tries to use shave. Luffy spots him, grabs him by the collar, and just shoves him into the wall.
Yeah, like basically just predicting where he was going to go, and it just. And then, God, that line from Luffy there, where he's do whatever you want with the world of the government. We just came to get Robin back. Like all of that stuff about declaring war on the world, he doesn't care. Like he just wants his friend back, and he will, through hell or high water.
I love that. I love these moments with Luffy where it's just like, I don't care what the implications are or what your grandstanding is or whatever it's all about. You hurt my friend. You are going down. Damn the consequences.
Yeah. God. I mean, and that's sort of like the only bit of the fight we get for this chapter, but like kind of starting it off with Luffy being able to, like, okay, he's kind of, he's got something. He's not completely powerless against the six powers. And it makes me so excited.
Oh, what a great opener for the fight.
All he does is land 2 hits. But they're 2 damn good hits.
Yeah, they are. Oh, man. But we're back to Sodom and Gomorrah. We're still going through the main road and trying to reach, where Luffy is. But, of course, they're freaking out, like, where the heck is Sniper King? And Zoro is the calm one. It's like, each time we've passed an island, we've gotten stronger. And each time he's been on an island, he's cheated death. No one who dies easily.
It's a very funny way to word it.
Us. Yeah, I know. He hasn't gotten stronger. Right. He's just cheated death.
Yeah. He's not wrong, though.
No, not exactly. But he has faith in Usopp or Sniper King or however. Yeah. Oh, it's hey, we got a name, a King Bull. Because
King Bulls. Yep. Okay. I'm going to try to commit that to memory because I keep forgetting.
The funny thing is, I doubt it matters after these set of chapters. Because unfortunately it's a hard road to get there, and it's not going to be easy, not going to be a straight shot, because poor Sodom takes a sniper bullet to the side, explosive, or not even a bullet, just an explosive, really.
Yeah, just a cannon fire
to the neck, and down he goes, really, and just saying, yeah, Sodom's done for. The artillery struck his chest. Hurry before he falls. We won't save anyone if we don't move forward. So Sodom was like, go for it. And they all jump over to Gomorrah, and you have to leave him behind. It's like, no, not Sodom.
You really get the vibe that there's so many heroic sacrifices happening here, where, it was the Galley Law guys, like, we'll take care of this, you go. And then now, okay, we've lost one of the King Bulls. So, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those rough moments, but that's it for now. But we do have our continuation of the fan favorite moves from earlier on. 4th place, Fire Fist from Ace, and then all the others are Luffy and Sanji. Gum Gum Bazooka, Bad Manners Kick Course, which honestly that's a really good one. I almost feel like that should have been higher. Gum Gum Storm, and then Armée de l'air, which is a Zoro, Sanji and Zoro combination move.
I think at this point in the story, I think Gum Gum Storm might be my favorite, at least of Luffy's techniques. So I'd rank it fairly high, actually. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just because it's the one that he took out Crocodile with, but I don't know. It's just it's conceptually it's just cool.
Yeah. Plus with Bazooka's usually one of his other finishing moves, so it makes sense. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump over to chapter 384. There's more coming, but that's it for now. Definitely don't get enough here. But yeah, 384, Signal the Counterattack, where just as Mr. 3 is about to leave, somebody comes to stop him.
Yeah.
And I have no idea who.
Certainly, based off of the silhouette, I didn't have any idea.
No, not at all. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that all turns out. But in the meantime, time to see what Sniper King's up to as, yeah, he missed boarding the King Bull. He's like, all right, what should I do? The shipwrights are impressive, and I already left the crew once, so maybe I should just run away. And we get the internal monologue. It's like, Sniper King, Usopp, how could you lie? I'm so confused now. Sniper King, Usopp, how could you both lie?
Yeah. What do you do?
What do you do? But yeah, he's like, this is an opportunity to run away. He's like, no. You hid your identity just so you could come along. Robin's risking her life to protect us. It's important. I must fight no matter what. So there's only one way to get through. Disguise myself as a government employee and pass around notice through the government hordes. So let's do that. But just as he's about to leave, he starts slipping on some water and is like, what the heck? And that's when he talks to the giants, or I believe it's Oishi specifically. Oishi's just like lamenting, basically. It's like, after 50 years, we've failed with the shame of Elbaf. I'm sorry, my chiefs. And that immediately gets Usopp's attention. Elbaf.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oimo. Yeah, Oimo and Kashi. And that's when we get their backstory. They were pirates together until 100 years ago, but on a certain island, their two chiefs began a duel. The group ended up disbanding and all the crew members had to return home. But after many years, neither chief returned. So after 50 years, they were like, okay, something's wrong with this. So him and Kashi set sail to find them. But along the way, the Navy found them and they made them tell them about what will happen with the chiefs. And that's when they told him that the government had actually captured their chiefs and they were in a government prison 50 years ago. But they got a deal. Work for us for 100 years, defend the gate for that long, and they'll return the chiefs. So since giants have such long lives, 100 years out of their 300 is no big deal. They accepted it to try to get their chiefs back. But because the Straw Hats got past them, that deal's off. They failed and they're never going to get the chiefs back. And that's when Usopp realizes, like, I've met those chiefs. And
oh man.
As soon as you started talking about him, like, you know who he's talking about.
You know what's coming.
It's like, damn it, Oda, you brought it back. You brought it back again.
I love that it is specifically like Usopp who's able to have this conversation, because he was the one who was the most enthralled with the giants on Little Garden.
Yes, he is a major fan of the giants and their coda and the bravery that they always show. And he's just like, I got plenty of proof. I know how they laugh, their weapons, their techniques. I know all about them because we really met. They weren't captured. That's a lie. And it's like, oh boy, I think I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Oh, Usopp, Sniper King, my boy. Really?
Yeah, which... That was a whole another element of this arc that I had completely forgotten. But it is like, I mean, just coming right after like Zoro's speech, it was just like, like he'll figure out a way to pull through, basically. And it's just like, yeah, this is how Usopp pulls through.
Yeah, he's able to think on his feet, make those connections, and just when it comes down and dirty to it, he finds a way, and it's great. We still got our strange three-headed guard of the main courthouse, and
I'll be honest, my eyes kind of glazed over on these next couple pages because of them.
Yeah, they're not the most enthralling, but the big takeaway here is we're letting loose the 11 righteous jurors, which apparently will crush the entire town, but whatever.
Yeah, they're big news, apparently.
Yeah, a big deal. All that matters is that Gamora is still racing through the government fire, and they're just too prepared for an ambush. It's too rough to get through, but Gamora is dead set. And all the while, the transporter snail gets picked up for Nami, where Kokoro says, I got some news for you. Basically, there's no road between the courthouse and the Tower of Law. So there's a tower on either side, right? On the top, there's a lever on the top floor of each tower. If you pull it, the drawbridge lowers between the courthouse and the tower. That's how you get across. So Luffy's already there. He just needs to pull the lever.
Which that kind of gives them a goal too.
Yeah, because it was already trying to get to Luffy, but they were like, oh, Luffy's already fighting one of the CP9 members up top there.
Yeah.
So got to get to that. And Kokoro just says, hey, I've got lots of information. So because I visited here once before with Tom. And I guess that's where Kokoro is going to be. She's information broker at this point.
Yeah, which that all makes sense. Although this all happening again while she's just like on the outer edge of the chaos, just taking a swig, is pretty great.
Yep.
I was gonna comment on this with the Usopp stuff too, but I really love how Oda is able to really make sure that like every character has something to do, even if it's something small, like you know, somebody has some inside of information. Somebody, you know, like Nami's able to clear out a whole room of guys, basically. And, you know, Usopp's over here. Like everybody kind of has like their own little objectives and their own little like goal, and their own, you know, they all have something kind of fairly major to contribute. It doesn't feel like he's making up an excuse to have like to give a character something to do.
No, and the only ones who haven't really contributed in a major way, at least so far, is Zoro and Sanji. But you know that's coming. Like we got translations from Chopper, as you said, with Nami and Usopp, and now we got Frankie family. It's like, all right, it's our job to split off and lower the drawbridge. So let's do that. And all of a sudden, these chain balls just smack across Gamora and knock him down, and it's just like, oh no. Gamora's down. They're ready to surround and kill him, and you can just see it. They're like, oh no, we are definitely in trouble because they are just there's so many of them.
Yeah, I guess, and that's kind of the downside about like the King Bulls have been like great transportation, but they're massive targets.
Yeah, and then we get more from Frankie and Robin. And it's just a small little thing here, which is kind of makes you feel kind of sad, but also it's like, I hope he gets to find out soon what's actually going on here, because he's like, you must be happy. It's to be expected that no one would come to help, but you don't see me getting bitter because my men haven't come for me.
Oh, Frankie's got to resign to his fate.
Yeah, he's definitely resigned to his fate at this point. And Robin is just like, you should be happy because your friends are coming to help you, but of course she's not, because she was just trying to protect them the entire time.
Right, and she knows what's at stake and knows that, you know, as much as she could trust them, that, you know, like, it's going to be a very hard road to save her.
But Galila is starting to wear down. There's just too many men, and the giants appear, and the government celebrating is like, yes, they got their second wind. Take them out. And then, of course, Oimo and Kashi are like, how dare you trick us? And they start whacking all of the Marines. It's like, yes.
Yeah. I love that they're just like, before we rejoice over our chief's safety, before we lament our lost time, we'll vent our anger until we're satisfied.
Join us, Sniper King.
That is so rad. And that feels like Usopp is just like the Sniper King. He's taken charge in his own way.
The giant tamer.
It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. Do have an SBS, nothing too major. We know that Frankie's fueled by cola because it tastes good. And we get a demonstration of how Chopper plays rock, paper, scissors. There we go.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but sure.
Fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, goodness. All right, time for our final chapter for this set. 385, There Is a Way. And wow, it's actually Mr. 2. You must not fail in life. And
Mr. 2, he's kind of looks good in a suit. Got to admit.
I gotta say, he does look really good. I love it.
So what's going on here is that like Mr. 3 was trying to escape on his own, and Bon Clay's here is like, no, you come and help.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like you can't just keep running in all this. It's like you need to accept the results of stuff like that, because that's absolutely his coda. It's also kind of fitting that Mr. 2 shows up when it's talking about there is a way. Think about his "Oh Come My Way" karate.
Yeah. How serendipitous.
Man, Mr. 2 is amazing. Like,
I'm so glad. I'm so happy to see him here.
I know. If we get a season 2 of the live action, I am so excited to see who they cast for Mr. 2.
Yes, please.
That'll be fun. But a little bit ago, before Bluno left, we get a little bit of a mini flashback here, where as CP9 was leaving, Spandam gave the devil fruit to Kaku and Khalifa. This actually gets us some, like, you think it'd be a little like, okay, whatever, they're taking their fruit, we're getting this set up, but it makes it get a little bit more interesting because Jabra starts freaking out. Don't bring it near me. It's like, don't you know, if you possess those powers, it means the devil lives inside your body. If I got close to that fruit, a devil would jump out of it and start fighting with the devil inside me, and my body would explode. And they're like, wait, no, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's not a rumor. What you're talking about is an example of someone who ate 2 devil fruits, which is not something we've had brought up before, is what happens if somebody eats 2.
Yeah, which, I mean, and that basically is, that's the explanation. You eat 2 and your body will explode and you'll die. But I sort of like the idea of it being framed around like the devil fruits have such mystery about them that even like a CP9 agent would kind of, there's a bit of mystery and a bit of rumor and, kind of like stories getting twisted and stuff like that.
Yeah. And this is the guy who's already had a devil fruit too. Yeah. And that's why he's so freaked out.
Willing to eat one, doesn't know how it works.
And Lucci's just like, greedy fools destroy themselves. If you think about the risk of just one fruit, you can imagine the curse by consuming a second one. So
yeah, I imagine that must have been, I don't think that came up ever I don't think Oda's ever answered it in an SBS, but I would imagine that was a fairly common question.
It probably was, but he didn't address it at all. He just talked about if somebody can have the same devil fruit, which I'm.
Oh, right.
That's the only thing he told about.
That's the thing about the devil fruits, man. Oda plays his cards very close to the chest with these, and I feel like even now in current year we don't really know that much about them. But I definitely I like
theory time. The One Piece is actually the source of all devil fruits.
Oh, see, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would. What were we about to say though?
Oh, just that, like the idea that even to government folks that these things are still kind of like mystical and weird, I think is really cool.
And you don't even learn the name of the fruit until you gain its power. So it's always a complete gamble what you get.
Yeah, and there apparently there are reference books for these, but they're from what you can extrapolate. They're probably not very reliable or complete.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you get to really document it? And it's only one per.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
But Lucci's just like, whatever. It all depends on how you use it. You won't get weaker, and being unable to swim isn't a big deal. So people have been searching, just trying to find a devil fruit. So eat them; it'll be fun.
Yeah, I like that. I also like that the pigeon's having a drink.
That is some major drip from Lucci. He's just been nothing but drip since his whole reveal.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Ever since the events at the Iceberg's house, he's just been like, all right, I'm gonna dress well and just rock it.
Oh man. And then Jabber's still like, don't eat it. It tastes like poop. And then the other Zipper Mouth is just like, it just doesn't want you to get stronger.
I think these interactions are much needed among the CP9 folks.
Yeah, it makes them feel more like a cohesive unit.
Yeah. And they're all even though their job is very serious and they take their jobs very seriously, they can also still be a little silly.
For sure. It's just like, no, just sell them. And they're both like, nah, it could be fun. And if it's good power, I welcome it. They just both eat it, and they're both like, ooh, it's disgusting.
F around and find out.
Yep. And now they're just like, all right, what power did you get? I like that we get the transition here of how this all goes. It's like, you'll notice the enormity of the transformation soon. New powers have been born. So identify those powers as soon as you can. Hard to say what they'll be. We don't know yet. They're just sort of waiting to see what happens. But it's very serious looks.
Yeah.
But back to the present day, it's still Luffy versus Bluno, as the fight hasn't really progressed since those 2 hits. Now it's time for the attempt to use Moonwalk and Tempest Kick, and Luffy is able to dodge, and we get Iron Body Wheel matched up with Door Fruit, and that's when this whole fight gets interesting, because combining
you're really seeing
the potential
what Bluno could do. Yeah, it's I've forgotten, like, this all basically happens like in a sequence, just like of all of the different ways that Bluno can use the Door powers. But
like always, it's like, even though when one person seems like they have an advantage, the other person will likely pull out something before it's actually done. So It's time to put Luffy back on the back foot. And yeah, he can change anything into a door. And that includes Luffy's face, which he turns into a revolving door, which is kind of disturbing.
It's disturbing, but I love this stupid cartoon logic.
He made him dizzy and then tried using Tempest Kick, and that's all we really see. We don't really see any results from that. And they're just like, okay, we got to get up to Luffy and help. And we got to break through this. But poor Gamora is paralyzed after the steel balls, and they're just attacking all the. They're just getting peppered with gunfire at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's when Chopper says, "Nobody get off," because Gamora is saying, "Hold on tight." And Gamora, despite the injuries, forces himself up to onto his wheels that he has his treads, and they're still blasting him as he starts taking down buildings and clearing out guys as he just keeps pushing forward.
I didn't think I'd start feeling things for the King Bulls.
I know, right? He's just like I said. He says, "I made a promise to Sodom. Leave the rest to me. I will carry them both for both of us." And we get flashbacks of them being found, about them becoming the family, the happiness of being together right off the bat. And it's just like, it's such great teamwork too, because it's like, no, don't just blindly plunge forward. It's a dead end. You'll die if you hit it. And I got this awesome line from Sanji and Zoro. I don't see a dead end. And they just smash through it, allowing him to get through.
You know, after what Zoro and Luffy did to a giant, like, ocean wave, yeah, they can cut through a wall. Yeah, sure. It doesn't even register.
No, this makes complete sense. And yeah, they successfully get to the front of the courthouse, and Gamora is able to pass out with a smile on his face.
Oh, he did it.
He did it.
I can't. What? Freaking Oda, man.
They just care about these King Bulls.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I completely thought they just were like, okay, yeah, they're here. This is completely superfluous or whatever. But no, like, they actually, again, everybody has something to contribute, even the animals.
Mm-hmm. And we're still just very much trying to reach CP9. Like, we're
trying to get there.
We're fighting one, but there's still 7 more waiting. So,
I'm honestly really surprised how entertaining this section has been too.
Yeah, because Oda balances nonstop action with storytelling a lot, because it's one of those things where it feels like we should be able to get through these chapters pretty quickly because they're all fights, and sometimes that will be the case where it's just fights because it's the big one-on-ones. But with this chaos of everybody fighting, they still found ways to put story into it, having more reason to dislike Spandam, have origins of Devil Fruit and new lore about Devil Fruit, or the implications of this attack at all. Like, there is still storytelling happening rather than just pure action.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot happening.
Yeah,
like there is a lot of like tiny little threads to juggle, and I think that's what makes it so entertaining. It doesn't feel like I feel like in a lot of other shonen manga, like, this is the part where you would start to get bogged down and just like, all right, everybody has to do their thing.
Yep, it's time for fight, and that sort of thing. And I'm sure we'll get there at some point with Enies Lobby, but there's still a little bit of story to tell. And I'm looking forward to the showdowns. I'm looking forward to more of Luffy versus Bluno to see how that goes. It's good stuff. I'm so excited.
Yep. We're in the thick of it, man.
Yes, we are. But with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 381 to 385 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job, and just holding down the fort.
There you go. That's all we can do. But hey, if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 386 to 390 of One Piece. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
An invasion like this is unprecedented. This is the furthest anyone has ever infiltrated into the mouth of the world government. But that ends here. Tell me, how long do you plan to keep fighting?